Thank you for choosing Berger de Beauce Pedigree database. In this video, we're going to show you how to enter a dog into the database whose parents have already been entered into the database. So the first thing that you're going to do is log into your account, and then we're going to go to the Add a Dog function. You can find this function here in the middle of the home page, or if you are in a different window or on a different page in the website, you can find it by going to the top ribbon and click Add a Dog. Now the dog that we're going to use for this example is Mandy de Soleil. She is a dog whose pedigree I've not been able to find consistently on the internet in a complete picture, and she is also a dog whose parents have already been entered into the database, so she makes a great example for this video. Now, I found a lot of her information in various different web pages that we like to cross-reference to make sure that all of our information is as correct and accurate as possible. So the first place that we're going to go is InfoDog. InfoDog is a show website that gives a lot of show information for various breed competitions across the country. This is actually the first website that popped up when I Googled Mandy de Soleil, which is very helpful. So as you can see, she's right here, Mandy de Soleil. And from this, I can just go ahead and copy and paste her name. Now, because on this website it is in all caps, we're going to want to make sure to change all of that so that it's accurate here grammatically in the database. Now I'm going to go back and make sure my spelling is correct. Perfect. And as you can see right here, it says 0 results. That means this dog has not yet been added to the database, so we can continue. I know that this dog's call name is Mandy. I know that she's a female, and I know that she is Noir et Faux or Black and Rust. That is pretty much all the information I know, besides that she was born in the United States. So I'm going to go back to InfoDog to collect some more information. From here, I can see her registration number, so I can go ahead and copy and paste that. Take away that space. I can also collect the dog's date of birth, which is 3/27/16. And for our international friends, we do use the American date format, but just for your reference, it will display here every time that you need to add a date, it will show you the month, date, year format. So now I can collect any titles that the dog may have had on this date that it was shown, and as you can see, she had her championship title. So I'm going to go to the pre-title section and type in AKC Championship. Because there are multiple different similar titles across multiple different entities, we want to make sure that we include which entity gave that title so that we can be as accurate as possible. If she had been shown in, say, France or Germany and had gotten a French or German championship, I could do a comma and type in France and championship, or even just French championship, something like that, so that it's very clear that she got her championship in America with the AKC or in France with a different entity. If she had a UKC championship, I could type that in as well, just like that. If you don't want to use a comma, you don't have to, but we want to make sure that we're as accurate as possible for the people that are looking into these dogs. So she doesn't have any post titles here, so we're going to skip that. And now I can move on to the sire and dam information. So on InfoDog, they usually have the sire and dam's information on here, so I can copy and paste that. The first name is always going to be the sire. And as I paste, you'll see that it'll pre-populate here in this box. that means that this dog has already been added into the database. So I can click on that and continue on to the dam. I don't want to copy and paste any of the titles because they may not show up when the database searches for the dog when you put it in here. So make sure you don't include those titles, and then she popped up right here, so I can click and continue on. Now, InfoDog also displays the owner and breeder information, so I'm going to copy and paste that so that I can enter it into Mandy's owner and breeder information. Now, as you can see, there are two sections for breeder and owners. That's because if I were the breeder of this dog, I could click here in the breeder ID section and it would pre-populate with my name. If I were the owner of this dog, I could do the same thing here in the owner ID section. Now, only owner breeder accounts can use this owner and breeder ID section. My account is a standard account, so as you can see, if I click, nothing is going to happen. Now, if there are multiple owners or multiple breeders of a single dog, each individual owner breeder account has to go in and click on this owner ID section for it to pre-populate that person's name here in that section. But what this owner and breeder ID section give us the ability to do is when we're searching for dogs, if this section is completed, it will give you the ability to click on that breeder's personal page, and it will show you all the dogs that that breeder has produced or all the dogs that that owner owns. Each person that has an owner breeder account gets a personal page or a breeder page so that people can click and link to those different pages. So as we move on, I'm unsure if this dog is a breeding dog, and most of the time you're not going to find this information out in the open unless you know for sure that dog has current offspring or is deceased. You can always put retired if the dog is deceased. So because I'm unsure of this information, I'm just going to go ahead and skip. If the owner or breeder of this dog came into the database and wanted to enter this information later on, they could always do so. So I'm going to head back to InfoDog, and I don't think I can find any other information. So we're going to go on to our next web page that we're going to cross-reference to. And another good page is the AKC Dog Search. This is a good tool to use if you are unsure of the dog's registration number, but you do know their full name. You can always search via the name and the breed of the dog. Or if you're unsure of the full name of the dog, but you have found the AKC registration number, you can search via the registration number. If you wanted to see how many titles this dog had processed through the AKC, this is another good tool to use for that. As we can see back on InfoDog, this information is from 2017 and we're now in 2021. So this dog could have earned many more titles between 2017 and 2021. So we always want to make sure that that information is up to date. Now the next information that we're going to add here is the health information. I don't know this dog, so I don't know the height and weight, and you're most likely not going to find that information on a web page. So our next section is OFA. OFA has a great tool up here at the top that allows us to search for dogs by registration number, OFA number, or even just the dog's name. So I searched for Mandy and it popped up with her name, and I can scroll down on her page and find all of her health tests that have been submitted to OFA. Now if we head back to the database, as you can see, you can link the OFA's actual website so that people can just click on the link here and it'll take them straight to those OFA results. And I can make sure to add all of the dates of each test that OFA has on file, as well as their results. So as we go back, I'm just going to go down the line and copy and paste all of this information into the database. So the first one is eyes, and we're going to go by the test date, not the report date. And that test date is April 29th, 2018. And we can head back, and I'm just going to copy and paste this because it's pretty long. We also want to make sure all of our spelling is correct. Copy and paste. And then I can go on to cardiac, which is 10/7/2018. And again, copy and paste. Now on to hips, March 21st, 2019. And those were excellent. Oops, there we go. And I saw the elbows were the same date and they were normal, so I can go ahead and enter those. Now the last one is this dog is SHIC qualified, so I can copy and paste that number. And their SHIC number is going to be all the way over here on the left. And then of course we're going to copy and paste this URL and enter it in both fields here. Now, if this dog had an embark test done and you wanted to link the URL here, you could do that as well. And if the dog did have this linked here, you could pull any of these other DNA type tests, such as the von Willebrands or this DM test here from the embark test. So there is no other information that I can find online, and I don't have a photo of this dog, so I'm not going to click there. But if you do find a photo of a dog, that is a very important aspect of completing pedigrees, so please make sure that you do add the photos if you can. I don't believe, oh yes, standard accounts do have the ability to add photos. So the only thing that a standard account won't be able to do is that breeder owner ID section there. So even you standard account holders, you can still add in photos. We want to make sure that our pedigrees are as beautiful with photos as they can be. So now that Mandy's information has all been entered into her section, we're going to save and go to pedigree. Now, if you just clicked save, it would take you back to whatever page you clicked add a dog from. So we're going to save and go to pedigree, and as you can see, it says this dog has not been approved. Every single dog that is entered into the database has to be approved by an admin. So this will not go away until an admin has approved that dog. And as you can see right here, here's the link to those OFA results, which makes it really easy for someone looking into this dog to just click and go straight to the OFA website without having to search for the dog themselves. And as we go down, you can see the pedigree information. So this top part is going to be the sire side. And as you can see, all the dogs and pictures that have already been added into the database are here. The pictures really make it easy to know what conformation lines these dogs are coming from. And as we keep scrolling, we're now to the dam side of the pedigree. And as you can see, still lots and lots of pictures of all of these different dogs in the pedigrees, which is such a nice feature of this database. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see if this dog has any direct offspring, this is a new dog, so this is probably not going to have any data yet. And then, of course, the siblings from the same father and mother, the same father and the same mother. So if you wanted to go and see what the siblings on the father's side would be, this is going to be the pairing. And as you can see, the little section here, inset section here, this is going to be the sibling. Here again, this is the pairing, and then the inset section, that is the sibling. So as we scroll back up, you're going to notice that there's lots of different colors all over the pedigree. that is going to show you any kind of line breeding that has happened within the pedigree. So if we keep scrolling up to the sire side, this light purple color right here, if we keep scrolling, it should pop up again right there. That shows you that this dog has been used and line bred on to create the sire side. So that's a really great feature. If you're looking into the line breeding that makes up your dog, those colors really stand out and show you which dogs have been repeated. Another really cool feature of this database is the PDF export feature. So if you click on pedigree and it says PDF right there as well, these are all the different ways that you can export this pedigree into a PDF style. If you didn't want to include titles, you could unclick that. If you didn't want the detailed information, let's say you only wanted the dog's names, you could unclick that. If you don't have a color printer and you didn't want the pictures, you could unclick that for the first generations. But if you want all that information, keep them all clicked. If you wanted it horizontal or vertical, enhanced, standard, there's a lot of different options here as far as exporting the PDF pedigree, which is a really awesome feature. And then one of the last features over here is the analysis feature. And this is going to show you the completeness of the pedigree. So as you can see, it's 100% complete until you get to about the 8th generation. That means that there might start to be missing dogs in the pedigree starting at the 8th generation. Maybe a great-great-great-grandsire is missing, or you know, one dog's parents way down the line is missing, because we could not find information on the rest of those dogs on the internet. That is where these numbers are going to start to get lower and lower as you go further back in the pedigrees. But as you can see, total, this dog is about 96.3% complete in its pedigree, which is pretty good as far as this database goes. The more complete a pedigree is, the more reliable the coefficient of inbreeding is going to be. There's a few other features if you scroll down here that you can explore. And then another feature that you can see here is if the dog had any kind of shows entered, this is where those shows and results would be popped up. And owners and breeders can add that information. And if the COI has been released for this dog, this is where that information is also going to be released. And that's how you enter a dog that parents have already been added into the database.